start our midweek press conference. We are now joined by head coach Rod Barnes, and we'll open up for questions at this time.
All right, Coach, from what you've seen from your team, whether it's scrimmages or just practice, what's your feel for this team right now, this early stage?
Well, it starts off, I think we're a competitive team. Our practice have been competitive. Our scrimmages have been competitive. Whether that's I think at this particular point, and always, your defense bench and get quality minutes more than what we've had here in the last couple of years.
If I ask you about your front line, what would you say about it?
Versatile. You know, I think we've got some inside guys that we can post up, but I also think we have some guys shoot the 15-footer, and as people may not know, the big fella Shaq can actually shoot the three. So I think we have a lot of versatility there, and I think it's really good competition.
And as far as guard play, it seems like you got a number of guys that can be in that rotation. What kind of numbers are we talking about, and what kind of versatility do you have there?
We have a lot. I mean, when you just talk about what we consider our three-guard spot, we could go maybe 6 guys deep that I think that could get minutes. And, you know, obviously it depends on the opponent and who we're playing. But I could see all 6 of those guys being in our rotation nightly, not just, you know, certain game, but game in, game out. Again, that's why I think we're a pretty deep team.
Your mouth, but if I recall correctly, are you willing to? I know you're always defense. I know that, but you're willing to be more freelance or more up-tempo offensively at the risk of maybe bad things happening, I guess is the best way to put it.
Well, it is. I mean, I am. I have confidence in the guys that we have out there, and also I think, you know, what I haven't been pleased when we think about being pleased, I haven't been quite as pleased with our pace of what we need to play with. I think our guys are still kind of thinking that we only got 4 or 5 guards and 2 post guys, and that's definitely not the case. But no, I mean, obviously you got new players, and we don't have time to, you know, go through that process of really developing a guy. So, I mean, obviously I'm going to have to allow some things to happen, and it's been happening. I think some of our guys that have been here, like Marvin McGee, I think he's been kind of like surprised, like, did he actually let him just shoot that like that or whatever? But also, I just think the confidence. I think some of the things have been over the last few years is just, you know, you being okay with missing a shot or being a big shot or taking a shot, you know. And I think we've had guys turn down shots and, you know, play at the pace that we would like them. But I think, again, I think this team here is more aggressive. You know, I think there's guys that I call it just competing. You know, just feel like, hey, man, I can jump up and make this shot, or I could get to the basket and make something happen. And obviously I feel I'm in a good place with them and with that. You know, and still we start hitting our numbers, in which I think our numbers 73 points. You know, if we can average that a game, then we got a chance to have a great season. So till we get to that, you know, I'm just going to, you know, kind of go with our guys. I think we got a chance to be more efficient in our play because I think we got more players that can get involved. So I think we can get to in a first attempt quicker than what we've been in the past because I think we've got threats at more than just a couple of positions.
So there's pace, and then there's what Long Beach State likes to call pace last year. New coach, I know, this year. But what kind of pace do you want? What is the pace that you?
Well, it's probably not as fast as Long Beach was last year because I thought they got out and I thought their whole game plan was to try to beat you down the floor and make something happen. But I thought it was good for their team. Probably in between. I thought we were slower than I would like to have been last year. And as I told our guys, a lot of that has to do with rebounding. I mean, we got to rebound the basketball. Got to try to keep people off the free throw line. See, all of that kind of slows the game down. when you got a lot of fouls or you don't get the offensive rebound, they get a chance to play again. So that ends up making it a pretty tough situation. I think we've got to rebound the ball, but I think we've got to get out. We got to try to use our depth. You know, I'm not one to say that, hey, we got the best 5 guys in the league or we got the best 7 guys that we've ever had. And I want to stress this. I think this may be the deepest team that we've had. If not, it was years ago when we were this deep. But that's not to say that we have the best players individually than anyone. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I think you could see us play 10 guys, 11 guys a night, and not just in blowout games or not in just situation where there's an emergency. It could be just a rotation of what we have. One of the adjustments that I probably made is to allow guys to play a little bit longer. You know, it's been some that I felt like, because I believe in our bench, you know, I've been able to put guys in, take them out real quick, and then put our starters back in. I feel a little bit more confident in this place right here that if a guy plays 4 or 5 minutes, I've got a guy on the bench that can come off and play 4 or 5, 6 minutes at a time. So that's that's probably been the biggest adjustment that I've kind of had to make, you know, during this, the practices that we've had and the scrimmages we've had, to just, you know, leave guys kind of out there, let them, you know, maybe even play through their mistake, or if they get hot, just kind of allow them to continue to stay out there and trying to stretch them a little bit longer, but also having confidence in that guy that's backing them up, that he's going to be out there for a while, and not a guy that we just brought him in for offense or we just brought him in for defense.
How do you feel, by the way? It was early, again, I know all this is early juncture, but
Yeah.
the potential of your defense.
I think we could be great. I think this may be, if we continue to work at the pace we're working right now and keep everybody healthy, I think this could be a great defensive team. And that's the thing that's probably, as I tell our team, I am pretty pleased where we are defensively right now. I mean, obviously we still got to improve and get better and get more guys involved, but the way that they compete, you know, and you know, we got a lot of different ways to go, and then we have some size up front that, you know, if you get to the basket, you know, we got guys that are, you know, block his shot and different things like that. So I think we got guards enough to keep you in front of us. So I think we've got a chance to be a great defensive team. You know, the thing for me right now has always been defense. I think that's what wins championships. But I don't like our flow as far as offensively. And again, that's something we're working on. I just want to play a little bit faster than what we're playing right now. And there's been adjustments, some because that's a little bit of adjustment for our older guys that are returning. Less for our younger guys because they want to get up and down anyway. But right now, I like where our defense is and feel like we've got a ways to go offensively. Not that we don't have the pieces. It's more of the pace that we need to be playing at.
With that depth comes a couple things. One, it seems like, for instance, last year, offensively, you counted on Caleb Higgins a lot for your points. It seems like you can come from a number of different places. And on the flip side, you don't have just 5 or 10 fouls to give down low. You might have 15 or 20 that you can use down low, if you know what I'm saying, in regard to that. Can you address the depth on both sides and how that offense will look different because you have options and things of that nature?
Well, I do. I mean, I think we have different kind of guys, you know, and to give us options. I think Kadar Waller, through our scrimmages, have shown that, I mean, he can make some of the plays that Caleb Higgins. He's not it's like score first point guard, but he can make some of the same plays. C.J. Hardy has really shown that, you know, he can really shoot the ball. He's probably doesn't shoot it enough. That's one of the guys that I think not attacking enough, that we've got to get him where he's comfortable enough to make the attack. I think we got shooters with both of the McGee brothers. I think both of those guys can shoot the three, and they believe they can make threes, and they're open to take it. I thought last year, just from a three-point standpoint, I thought, you know, Dolph would do it every once in a while, not as much as I like, but just to have Marvin pretty much as a counter to three-point. But his brother has really helped us as far as spreading the court, even with guys that might be the second group. That's why I'm saying I'm not afraid to play another 5 or whoever starts or doesn't start. I think Corey's just developing and growing. He's proven that he's improved, which kind of give you a mid-range guy, but also a guy with some strength that he can drive to the basket and finish. I think the same thing with Jay Alexander. But then I think inside, I mean, I think Fidelis has improved, but I think Shaq could be a guy who could end up, we could depend on going down and getting us an inside bucket. And I think Cam is more of a 12 to 15-foot consistent shooter. I think he can score it inside, but he may go up against some guys maybe a little bit stronger than he is. But he's a good 12 to 15-foot, scorer. So, we can go a lot of different places. The nights could be a lot of different. I think probably a guy that is kind of a wild card is Jamel Jones, because I think he can do a little bit of all of it. I think he can get to the basket. I think he can shoot mid-range. I think he can shoot the three. He's a threat whenever he's on the floor, which I think frees things up for other guys that they can feel more freer. But then also I think it's just a confidence level that some guys that we have. And again, I think that's why we've been really competitive, because if you got one of the McGee guys on one team and you have the other one on the other team, you got shooters on both sides as far as from that position. But, again, my issue or my problem right now is, and we're going to be working on it all this week, our pace got to change. We got to realize how many different guys that can score, and they need to be on the attack more than, we don't have to set up with Caleb now and kind of get us going. We got some other guys that can go make plays right away, especially out of transition.
So it's interesting in that part of it seems like you want these guys to be a little selfish if you're open, shoot the shot, but also unselfish in that a lot of guys aren't going to play 30 minutes,
right.
It seems like. You got to understand what the makeup of the team.
Yep.
Can you sort of address that a little bit in terms of, take it if you got it, but also understand you might be sitting next to me because we're good?
Yeah, well, I told our guys, one of the things that I think is a strength, and I keep telling them, we've got to lean into our strength. Our strength is we've got depth. We've got different ways, different guys that can answer the call. And our preparation is any one guy out of our top 10 or 12 guys need to be prepared to play 30 minutes every night. But the point is it might be a night that you don't play 30 minutes simply because the guy that's in front of you or the guy that's playing, we sticking with him. And I think one of the biggest things for that is understanding, in a sense, what's going in this particular play for us. If it's an inside game, we got to try to get the ball inside. If we got open shots, and we talked about this a lot yesterday, if you got open shots, you got to take it. There's no time limit on it. There's no 5 seconds, 8 seconds, 10 seconds. If you got your shot, take the shot, because I think we're athletic enough that we can get on the glass, and we got enough athletes that they could be part of our offensive kind of scheme of what we do, that we can get to the glass and rebound. So just make sure it's a good attempt. And again, that's a little bit different. We're not in a situation that right now, especially, that we feel like, well, this guy could do this, but then this guy can't do this, or this guy's our better option to do this. It's a better option than what may be happening in the game, but I think we got options at, several different places. Like I talked about it before, I think, earlier, I think Kadar Waller's a guy who can get to all the places that Caleb Higgins. I think he doesn't have that kind of scoring mentality, but he can get to all those places and he can make those plays. Well, at least we still got that kind of in our system, that we got a guy that can do that kind of stuff, but then he's got options to go a lot of different places to get the ball to some people that I think either have improved or we recruited to do a job.
So Jamel Jones came with a lot of hype. What makes him special? What makes him a talking point?
I think the first thing, he has a mentality. He believes he can score. I think that's one of the things that comes with a score. They just believe they can score. They believe that they can figure it out. And regardless of whether you got size on him or smaller guys on him, he thinks he can score. And I think confidence is one of the biggest things that is. And I think that's some of the guys that we brought in. They're confident, more confident than some of the other guys that we may have brought in the past that we were trying to help build their confidence, The next thing is he's unorthodox. You know, he's one of the few guys that I think still in the country that's okay with shooting a 12 to 15-foot bank shot. It's just abnormal nowadays. You don't see people doing that. I think he has a good feel that if he's around in the post, he's got a good feel of how to get his shot off against bigger people. And he kind of knows the difference. It's a knack for scoring. He knows the difference from, man, I need to go try to score this basket, or I need to try to go get a foul, you know. And he knows how to fall. I mean, it's just a knack for scoring. There's not many times he's going to get to the basket, I don't think, this year. And if he gets to the basket and if someone held over there, he's going to be standing. He knows how to draw fouls. So, what I mean by fall, he knows how to fall without getting hurt. He knows how to take that lick and then get back up and continue to play. So it's just a different, you know. We hadn't had anyone counter with his style of scoring. You know, I thought Diedrich a few years ago had a kind of speed, kind of get up and down. Damian Duran was a guy that three-pointer, he could just light you up really quick. You know, I thought Tajay Moore was a guy that kind of worked the game, you know, get a dunk, get a layup, get a steal. You know, Jamel has just a knack for knowing how to old school game. We're going to go into some games, and I think people probably going to look at him and go, oh, you talking about that guy? But then at the end of the game, they probably going to say, yeah, that guy. He's that kind of guy, you know. And he's learning to, and it's helping him grow every day, that he realized, you know, his junior college team was good, but he's got some guys that can help him. So he's not having to carry this load by himself. And he has that mentality. You know, he has the mentality, I can take over the game, or if you need for me to do what I need to do. But then also, just because we have the depth that we have and the different people that are talented enough, he's learning to. But you talked about playing, you know, me coaching earlier, just style of coaching. I don't think I've told him, and he's taken some bad shots in practice, that I've told him, hey, don't shoot it. You know, I may have to say, hey, listen, maybe that guy was open. Maybe you should have, you know, moved the basketball, because I don't want to take his aggressiveness away, because he can score the basketball, and I don't want him wondering, is that a good shot, bad shot? I just said, we'll coach through it, and you'll learn, and I think he's done a great job of just taking coaching.
And finally for me, I don't know if the media knows anything, but they have you guys 9th in the preseason poll. Was that media or coaches? I don't know. But anyway, you're 9th in the poll. I don't know if it means a hill of beans, but at the same time, your thoughts in terms of maybe what they don't know or how you feel about it?
Well, I mean, obviously, I think every other team in our league that have people that's returning, and obviously we don't have double-figure score. We have 4 guys on our team that started a lot for us last year, and I thought that would mean more than what it seems to mean to other people, but that's okay. I mean, now, it doesn't matter. What's going to happen, we're going to play the games. It's the season. All the picks and rankings, and that really doesn't matter. What it matters now is which team going to go out and be the best team, be the most consistent team night in and night out, and that's our goal. Did we not feel like that was somewhat of, we were happy with that? No. Because, regardless, it's the respect factor. Just as plain as simple as that. And that's okay, because we've been disrespected before, so that's okay. But I couldn't sit here before you and be honest with you and say, hey, I saw 9th, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's where we should be, or that's where we deserve to be with the guys that we have coming back. But I understand. We don't have 14 points coming back or 18 points coming back. So our value in defense, our value in experience, our value in being in the game probably mean more to us than it means to some other coaches or media people. And everyone has their own feeling about what they think or making the choices that they made. So we'll play the games and we'll see. I'm confident in our team. If we can stay healthy, continue to move in the direction we're moving right now, then we won't finish 9th.
Lastly, I forgot one question because I won't see you in this seat until
Sure.
after the Cal game.
Yep.
Your thoughts on the Cal game and just if you guys are ready for this.
Well, I was afraid that you were going to ask that question. Brandon, my son, is his scout. I haven't done much work on them. We had a scrimmage this past Saturday. We took off Sunday. Yesterday was about our team. Today will be about our team. And tomorrow, he and I and the rest of the coaches will sit down and start discussing Cal. I do know a couple of their players just from following in basketball. Blackshear that came from Grand Canyon, the forward that came from Stanford. They've got a bunch of transfers. They have a new team. And, if you call me in a couple of days, I have more information on you, but today and yesterday has been about us and correcting what happened this past weekend. And again, on tomorrow, we'll start preparing for Cal.
Would it be fair to say, though, they're a talented team and maybe you catch them before they get a little chemistry?
Well, I mean, I don't, yeah, that would help, I think, because obviously they have talent. I mean, they've done a great job. Their coach does a great job. He's moving the program in the right direction. But, we're about us right now, and we're going to go and try to do what we do and see what we need to work on. In the midst of it, again, I think this team is a very competitive team. So I don't think we're going to go not expecting to play well, being surprised. It would surprise me, not necessarily, if we play well or not, because that's another level. But it would surprise me if we don't compete. It would surprise me if we're surprised about what we do. We've had hard practice. We've had competitive practice. And as I told our team yesterday, and I'll close with this, I'm definitely not pleased with all of our execution. I'm not pleased with what we're doing offensively. But we have some intangible things that are going on. We're competing until the horn goes off. We're coming prepared, ready to practice every day. We have a good spirit about our team. Those are the things that you need, that when those games get tough or times get tough, just little things. As this past scrimmages that we had some guys that didn't play a lot of minutes. But it was the best bench atmosphere that we've had in years, as far as guys not complaining, not worrying about minutes, not worrying about who came in, and coming right back. And if we keep that kind of, positive attitude, winning attitude, then we'll fix the rest of it. We'll get it. So that's where my encouragement is we got some intangible things that are happening with this team as far as being in the gym all the time, encouraging each other. Those kind of things help you win as the season go on. We're not talking about did you play, did you come out, we're not talking about those things. When those things are this early in the year, then you're probably going to have some problems as you move forward. And we're not having those issues right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, appreciate it.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah,
Thank you for the shirt. Don't
Yes,
forget
sir.
your phone. Don't forget your phone.
yeah.
Thank you, man.
We are now joined by
shoot.
Coach Ari Wideman, and we will open the floor up for questions.
All right, Coach, I guess first impressions of what you saw last night.
before this. Am I looking at you with the
Just, yeah,
camera?
talking about
Okay. Last night, I mean, I think we're still getting a feel. We had a better outing in our scrimmage the other day, and I know they said they had jitters, but I think that, I could see that they'll buy into our offense. Like, they bought into how we want to play. Now it's just, especially because I love offense, like, now we have to hit open shots and take care of the ball. And so we just need to be more disciplined, and we're working on building good habits and making sure the culture's intact. But everything foundationally is in a good place. Now we just need to be able to put the ball in the basket.
What were you looking specifically at last night? What were you looking for to see? What were some of the bullet points for you?
Yeah, I was evaluating if we would play at our pace. And so we're still working on that. Ideally, we want to play up-tempo, and we want to score in the first 8 seconds or less. And I just need them to learn how to play more free and not so, like, set-oriented. And I had to manipulate some things because we were in some tight spots with scoring. But I wanted to evaluate their pace, their connectivity. Could they stay together through the highs and lows of a game? And then defensively, like, could they lock into scout? And I think they did a pretty good job in terms of following scout, but now we need to finish plays. And I think that behaviors and habits where we talk about stacking every day and operating how winners would, and we're still growing in that area. But I'm still open. I know we can fix a lot of things. We watched film this morning, and I know that we'll continue to get better.
I'm looking through a very small lens here. I saw your the Hoop Fest. You guys had a 3-point shooting contest, and those 3 girls that were in the contest lit it up. I realize nobody's guarding them, but still,
Yeah.
If you can make, you can make. Didn't
Yeah.
see that much last night.
Exactly.
Where are we when it comes to your outside shooting? How do you feel about your team right now?
Yeah, like, they can make shots. They said it was jitters. And so I'm like, hey, we're getting clean open looks. So now we have to knock them down and be confident. And I think these guys are really, really learning how to be confident as well. And I think they have to have a swagger about them. I tell them when you go out there. And so we have to continue to be confident. I know they get the reps in. And so now it's just about relaxing and scoring it, being a shot maker, not a shot taker. And we have to be better at that.
All right, let's talk pace for a moment. I know you've talked about it before, but what do you want to, Rod was just talking about what he wants to see, the pace of his team. What do you want to see?
Yeah, we identify our players by pushers, stretchers, and hunters. And the pushers, when they get the ball at the outlet, they need to try to break the arc within 4 seconds, 5 seconds max. And so there are clear, defined terms, and we need to play in that pace more often. And we just weren't in it. And so we're working on that. And, like, not being hesitant. If the ball is advanced, attack. Like, there's no need to lose advantage. And sometimes we'll advance it up the sideline and throw it back and try to get in something when you could have ripped baseline or middle, and then we have concepts we play to after that.
Like I saw a play last night in the first half. Taylor got the ball on the defensive end, dribbled to about almost mid-court, but a nice bounce pass ahead to Ari, who got a layup
Yeah,
there.
more of that.
Little transitions and stuff. Yeah, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, I need that, more and more of that, those rim runs, and then us recognizing, like, one time Trinity, there was a rim run, and she absorbed 4 people in the paint, right? And she threw it. Don't throw that. Play opposites. So everybody was in, throw out. There was 2 stretchers for us on the outside, shot ready from 3. And so we just have to be better making decisions in real time. And I think that as they get more reps, they will. And so I'm just a math person, and I'm going to go with, we were just collecting more data yesterday. It's not a verdict, but we're collecting data, and we have to continue to make better decisions.
Rod obviously has an advantage over you in that he has some players he was familiar with from last year, and your roster is virtually pretty much new to you, even though you have some familiarity with some players.
Yeah.
Where do you fall on depth? How deep do you think this team will be?
I think we can get to 9, and then when ideally Katie Gingras and Insage Ortiz come back, I feel like we'd have a good rotation of 11. But again, I tell them, I play you off of trust in practice. You are the sum of your habits. And so you show me everything you're going to do throughout the week, and I'm living with those people who prepared and performed during the week. It's not just going to turn on in the game. And so the rotation wasn't as maybe deep last night in terms of minutes, but you show me who you are every day, and I live with that. And so those are people I had to roll with. and I did. I just had to go with my gut.
Yeah. Do you have a feel in terms of what type of, not that I want you to give a scouting report to other people, but
Yeah.
what type of team would give you trouble? Fast team, big team? Do you think your team's versatile enough to handle anybody? What?
Yeah, I think teams with size could give us trouble, athleticism, but our scouts are really detailed, and so if we stick to game plan, I believe we can compete with anybody because our scouts are so in depth, and that's why we had film today. And for example, number 2 last night, long 6'2", lanky kid, averaged 5 blocks a game. The main thing we worked on all week was, which we label the court at levels. Level 2 is like these hashes in the middle from the free throw line to the hash, and then the second hash below. Those are level 2, level 3. You need to use counters and fakes there because you're going against length. Like shot blockers love 1-foot takeoffs. They can time everything, and so we weren't disciplined. We didn't use fakes, so that results in block shots when we could have got fouled and finished at the free throw line. There could have been and one opportunities. There could have been just more foul attempts. Like we want to shoot more free throws than the other team, and preferably make more than they take. And that's a part of our game plan. And so we just weren't disciplined. And so we have to continue to work on that.
Who's the leader on this team, or got a bit of alpha in them? Is there 1 or 2 or 3 people like that?
There's 3 captains. The best leader, I think, is Garrison Freeman. She's kind of me in a sense, and she just does things the right way. High energy, she brings it every single day, and I don't have to ask. And then Aries the same way. She's a little bit more quiet in some facets, but she just does her job. And so those 2 have been really solid just because they're steady. Taylor Caldwell is naturally a leader. She's just steady, but I think she's more focused. I just want her to focus on her health and making it through year 7 as she's been through so many obstacles. I just need her to focus on her and then being a good, like, just steady leader, even though she's not a captain.
What can you, even though you weren't around for the first 6, what can you say about that journey? Think about where you were 7 years ago. She was just starting her career, and now you're her coach. What can you say about her journey, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, she's tough. Like, someone to come back, and she has some grit to her, right? She's overcome a lot of injuries, and the fact that she's done that and she wanted to come back for her 7th year is pretty remarkable. And it just shows you that she loves the game, honestly, and she's got a great basketball acumen. And she's a player that you can trust. I think she's just a hooper. And so lucky to have her. She's mature. She's wise beyond her years for sure.
Well, if Rod has a challenge on his hands with Cal, you've got Grand Canyon. What about the first challenge there?
Yeah, really excited about that. Been preparing for them for a while. Obviously, they're preseason picked to win the WAC, and they've got some all-conference players, but our schemes are gonna have to be really good, and we're gonna have to, stay really disciplined to our scout and then score the ball. Like, they struggle a little bit in transition defense, and so we need to push the pace. That is something we always want to be able to do, and so there will be game planning that they'll have to stick to. But I think we have a chance. We have to push the tempo. And we have to make shots. We're gonna have to make shots down there.
How do you battle jitters? If you had them last night at home against Hawaii Pacific,
Yeah.
going to their place, which usually has a packed house, at least it does in the men's, and I assume the women's too.
Yeah.
What about playing at their place and avoiding those, especially first game jitters?
Yeah, I think they'll settle in. Like, they had a really good showing against a WCC opponent the other week when we scrimmaged, but it's empty gym. And this was a little bit different. There was fans here, and you put your real jerseys on. And so I think there's some benefit to exhibition because you can get a real feel for a game. And so I think they have settled in, and it'll just be a good test for them. And so I think that Grand Canyon, notoriously, they'll jump out on you, they'll press you, and can we handle it and punch back? And so that's going to be critical. Can we take care of the ball? We had 18 turnovers last night. That is not Bakersfield basketball. We want to be under 12. So I always tell them you get 3 a quarter. And that was just uncharacteristic of us last night.
How is Ari Wideman taking to being a head coach, and how would she assess how she's doing so far? And I don't mean wins and losses. I just mean, how are you dealing with the business of wearing so many hats now as opposed to being an assistant?
Yeah, I think I've done a good job so far. Now, I think I will be experiencing a lot of highs and lows, and that's what it is. And I think I told you before, being a head coach is literally like flying a plane. There's turbulence every day. Can you land the plane softly? And that is just my main job. And I'm proud of what I've done so far, but now we need to put it all together. And we need to win games and need to continue to lead and stay positive and just know that we are trying to really, really build great habits here. And I met a guy in the parking lot last night. He's like, if you were inheriting just this great program where they were just winners, they were operating at a high level, your job would be a lot easier, but you're not. You're having to rebuild. You're having to build belief and confidence in players. And so we're trying to do that. And now I tell them, like, you have to walk in your purpose. Everything you have, you need. Now walk in that and own that. And so I'm trying to get them to buy into that.
What are your own expectations of yourself?
Myself is just to, like, I'm a winner. And so I think one of my best skill sets and abilities is to get the most out of people. And so I really want to get the most out of this group. And what I saw them do 2 weeks ago against the WCC school, I know they can do. And I know that they'll be competitive in Big West play. But they have to be consistent. And so my job is to make sure they're consistent. And I'm on their tails every day because my standards aren't changing. Like, we are going to be excellent, and that starts from the warm-up. That starts when you wake up, really. Like, do you make your bed? I value people who make up their bed. Like, every day, you're disciplined. You won the first thing. And you get after in every walk of your life. And I want these guys to do that. And that's how you become great. You have to be great at everything.
Is patience a strong suit for you? Or is that
Ari would say it's not. I feel like I'm pretty patient because I really value teaching. I think Mike Neighbors said, if you're a good coach, you don't say something more than 5 times. And so I value teaching and being patient, but I'm a balance between urgent and patient. Because if I've taught you, then I think you should execute. If you didn't the first time, maybe there's some data to be, taken from that. But then there comes to a point where if you're just not doing it, then I lose my patience, right? But I do my best, again, to be a really good teacher of the game. And then I think you should be able to execute. And so, but again, we're getting a lot of data.
And lastly, I don't know if I missed anything. Was there a preseason poll out?
Yes,
And you guys
there is. We were 10th out of 11.
And your thoughts?
I love it. Underdogs. I did my press conference with the Big West. I've been underdog my whole life. And these guys are underdogs. And when they play like it and they buy into that, then we're all in alignment. And we don't have anyone to prove, necessarily wrong. Prove yourself right. And I tell them that all the time. Prove yourself right. We're underdogs. We need to be gritty, blue collar, because that's my personality. And they're starting to adapt my personality. But now you need to be that way consistently. Like, you have to be a dog.
Do you practice with them at all? I mean, do you ever?
I'll practice with them a little bit, and our staff is gonna practice with them all week because we're gonna rep this press with the scout guys and wreak havoc so that it's easy when we get down to Arizona.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Thank you.
By the way, I don't know where you guys can put it.